my name is Sarah and I'm a certified outings leader with the Sierra Club. September is Trails Month, so all throughout the month we'll be highlighting little known trails within Northeast Pennsylvania so that you can get out in a safe and socially distant manner. Most of our other videos have focused on your more traditional hiking locations, but as a mother of a small child, I know that those locations aren't always easy to get to when you're with your family. So today we're going to be highlighting a slightly different trail. I am at the Carlton Drake Memorial Park in Newfoundland, Pennsylvania, down towards the south end of Lake Wallenpaupack. And most of our playgrounds in the Poconos are lucky enough to have nature trails attached to them. The Carlton Drake Memorial Park has a nature trail that's just shy of a mile. It's a nice gravel path. Part of it is mulched, but it's very stroller friendly, that follows the west branch of the Wallenpaupack Creek. So that's what we will be exploring today. But you don't have to travel very far to find a playground in the Poconos that happens to have a nature trail, either stroller friendly or not so stroller friendly. If you live closer to Hawley, you could go to Bingham Park, which has a great playground and a nature trail that connects to Riverside Park, which has a newly constructed dog park. So if you want to bring your furry companion along, you can do that as well. It also has a trail that connects all the way from Hawley to Lock 31 in White Mills. So that trail is not stroller friendly, but it is still a trail right in downtown Hawley that you can pick up. If you live closer to Tobyhanna, there is a municipal park right across the street from the Army Depot that has a great little playground in it and a hiking trail. If you wanted to make it a longer day, you could go right down the street to Tobyhanna State Park, which has a small playground and lots of hiking trails. One or two are stroller friendly, but only if you have a jogging stroller. Promised Land State Park has a great playground with lots of hiking trails, some of which are stroller friendly. High Acres Park in Cresco in Monroe County, they have a nature trail. It is not stroller friendly, but it is short and it goes along the Broadhead Creek, so it's a very pretty and scenic trail. There's also Mountain View Park in Tannersville, which is a little bit of a drive, but if you happen to be in the Tannersville area, that is an epically cool park. There are hiking trails there, but if you wanted to do a longer hike, it is right down the road from Big Pocono State Park, which has beautiful scenic views that you do not have to hike far to get to. And if you wanted to bring your stroller with you or are hiking with someone who has mobility issues, the road that goes around the summit of Big Pocono State Park is also a hiking trail, so you can walk on a paved road and still get some of the great views. As we are still in the middle of a pandemic, please make sure that if you go out, you have your mask with you at any given time. I'm being socially distant right now, so I feel it's safe not to wear my mask. But if I were to be walking anywhere close to any of the families in the park, I would put my mask on. The park here is pretty great. It has bathroom facilities, baseball field, soccer field, swings, the whole kit and caboodle. But it does easily get flooded after a rain. So if you decide to come after a rain event, make sure to bring your galoshes, which can also be really fun if you are playing with small children or kids at heart. The pavilion that I am currently in, which is right near the parking lot as you come in, has what many of the older buildings within this area have on it, which is a marker to the 1955 flood, which was one of the worst floods in our region. If you look behind me, you'll see that up there. That line is the marker for the 55 flood to show how high the water of the Wallenpaupack Creek rose during that event. We have had several floods since that time, but none have had the loss of life that you found during that flood. There were over 100 individuals that lost their life during that flood. There is a little way station at the beginning of the hiking trail that talks more about the flood in detail if you are interested. So here's that little way station I was talking about, which can be found right by the American flag as you enter the park. As you walk down, you'll see the sign that is the beginning of the hiking trail. There are dog bags available if you wanted to hike your dog on the trail as well. But please remember to keep your pets on a leash at any time. So as we're walking down here, this part here often gets flooded with the rains. So they recently changed the trail material from mulch to gravel along this stretch to help with drainage. It's part of the stream restoration process that's being done by the Wallenpaupack Lake Management Association. They've been doing quite a bit of stream restoration on the west branch of the Wallenpaupack Creek, which we'll be coming up to right now. This was one of our favorite places to relax during the warmer months. The water doesn't get too deep. There is a current though, so if you decide to go in when the water is high with your young ones, just make sure to watch them. You find some great macroinvertebrates flipping over rocks, those creek critters that tell you the water quality of any given body of water within the state. Now you'll see these logs that are sticking out. That's part of the stream restoration program. It's to de-channelize the stream. At one point, I don't know if you can still kind of tell, even though they've been working on not straightening it, but it was straightened after the flood to deal with mitigation efforts to try to make it less flood prone, but that had the opposite effect. So they actually went through and straightened the stream's banks at one point, and these wooden logs are to help correct that. So we'll continue down along the path. Once you leave the field area along the trail, you'll be walking through a short expanse of forested land. And if you keep your eyes open, you may notice some tree signs along the way put there by local Boy Scouts to identify native tree species. There are also a couple of birdhouses tucked in along the woods to provide habitat for native species. And here we find ourselves at another break in the trail where we can look at the Wallenpaupack Creek. The water is a little bit deeper and slower at this point in the creek, where sometimes you can see small fish and crayfish swimming around. It's a great place to sit on the bench and enjoy the sounds of nature right in downtown Newfoundland. This time of year, you'll often see fall wildflowers, like these asters right here. We'll see some more wildflowers a little bit later on in our hike. But you'll also see some flowers here that aren't as welcome. These are Japanese knotweed, which have taken over the embankment. They are an invasive species that overgrow all the native species within the area. Early in the spring, though, they can be treated like rhubarb, and if you cut their stalks, you can use them to make jams and pies and pickle them. So that's a great way to get rid of invasives. Eat them. On the other side of the wooded lot, we come to a large field of wildflowers. Now, I'll go along and we can look at some of the wildflowers, but if you decided that you wanted to make it a longer hike, you could go along this mowed area, which loops out and around the opposite side of the field and comes back around over there. There is another little bench farther down along the creek that was put in by the Rotary that does not get as much travel as some of the other spots along this trail. So here we go, some random corn. But we see our black-eyed Susans and our asters. Look at that. Now these were all put in by the Lake Wallenpaupack Watershed Management District earlier in the summer. I believe it was in June. They came through and seeded this field with wildflowers. And that's wonderful. It's awesome. Autumn is a crucial time for our pollinator species as they're gearing up for the winter months. So having all of these black-eyed Susans and asters, there's some really pretty white flowers out there. I wonder what those are. Are very important for all of our little buggy friends. So if you see a bunch of goldenrod, leave it alone. Oh, there's some goldenrod. Speak of the devil. Because our butterflies need them. As we get towards the end of our hike, we'll pass the football field and a field of Phragmites, which is another not so nice invasive species. We'll come up to the trail back to the parking lot, and there's also a large open space over here off to the right, which is where the town of Newfoundland has their farmers markets on Saturdays during the summer and fall. I've gotten some great inexpensive local produce from the farmers market this year. It's the first year they've been offering it. So get out on a Saturday with your mask and get some local produce. You can see the cattails in here. This is a drainage ditch, so they like it where it's nice and damp. Ooh, somebody was playing with some cattails. That's so fuzzy. So we'll just follow the road back to the parking area. At this point, there is a separated gravel trail that runs parallel to the road, so you will not have to walk on the road with your young ones. There's two entrances to the park. You can come in this entrance, which is right by the old hardware store, and come in through this way. Or the other entrance to the park is right across from the South Elementary School. There are trash receptacles along the way as well. So make sure you don't leave anything behind with you that you shouldn't be. And that's about it. I'll leave you now to walk the rest of the trail by myself. But I hope that you enjoyed this video today and get out and hike.